You see, at the table, the first thing that I discover is that there is provision at the table. I don't know what you've been going through, but at the table, there is provision. In other words, there is no lack at the table. Your poverty comes to an end at the table, and the devil knows that. That is why he's trying to stop you, because he knows that when you get to the table, your poverty is gone, lack is gone, there is provision on the table. Somebody says amen. Somebody says amen. The second thing that I know is that there is restoration at the table. How is there restoration? So they've been fighting you. The devil has been trying, your enemies have been trying, but there is restoration because everything you lost is restored at the table. So the devil has stolen from you, but when you get to the table, whatever he stole from you, you will recover. Somebody says, I will recover. Put the cloth over this. I want to show you something. Somebody says, I will recover. I will recover. There is restoration at the table, and the devil doesn't want to restore you. That is why he wants to prevent you from getting to the table. Come on, somebody says amen. The third thing that I discover is that the table covers your shame. The table covers your shame. I don't know how embarrassing your life has been so far. I don't know what the devil has tried to do so far. But at the table, every embarrassing thing you went through is covered. I want to tell you about a man. This is a man who the devil bent so bad that he called himself a dead dog. Anybody knows what I'm talking about? I'm talking about who? Mephibosheth was so bent that the devil made him to see that you are worthless. You are useless. You are a nothing. He called himself not only a dog, but he called himself a dead dog. But little did he know that he was going through the valley of the shadow of death, and there was a table waiting for him in front. One day the king says, come to the table. Somebody says, one day. There comes a time when you need to sit at the table, and the devil knows it. He's going to discourage you. So Mephibosheth is crippled. He's got no legs. Most of his life he was crippled. He says, you know what? What can I do with no legs? God will always use what you think you cannot use. God will use your weaknesses to put your enemies to shame. Mephibosheth comes in and he's got no legs. But the king says, come to the table. Not knowing that at the table there is grace. At the table there's a cloth. This cloth is grace. This cloth is called grace. He comes to the table and he sits down. Now you tell me, I am crippled. I'm sitting at the table. But can you see my crippled legs when I'm sitting at the table? You cannot see my shame. You cannot see my embarrassment when I'm sitting at the table, because everything that is wrong with me is hidden by the cloth which I call grace. Grace is waiting for you at the table, and that is why the devil is trying to stop you. He's saying you are useless. You cannot do it. You will never be a millionaire. You will never succeed in music. But there's grace waiting for you at the table of the king. When Mephibosheth came, he sat down. When he sat down, he found a cloth on that table. That cloth is called grace, and it's covered his broken legs. No one that walked in that room could tell that there was a broken person on the table, because he was no longer broken. The grace of God covered his brokenness. The cloth of God, the grace of God covered his shame. When he was sitting there, he looked like he belonged there. That is what the devil is trying to stop you from. The king called him and he sat there. Number 4, at the table there is protection. Bible says he prepares a table in the presence of my. So the enemies are surrounding you around the table. But what they don't know is around them there's an army of the living God. So the enemies will see you at the table and they will say, he will not last. They will see you at the table enjoying and say, he will not last. She will not last. She will surely die. She will surely miss. She will surely fail. But what they don't know is behind them there's an army of the living God. And at the table, that's why I say there's protection. You know why? Because you are sitting with the king. Now you tell me, who will come and touch you when you are sitting at the table with the king? Tell me. Who will touch you when you are sitting at the table with the king? The devil knows that at the table there is protection. Once you reach the table, he cannot touch you. So he will tell you, go back. He will discourage you and you say, it's been a year and things are not working for me. I'm just going to turn back. I'm going to give up. And the devil says, yes. Because he knows that once you get to the table, he will not be able to touch you. Are you with me? The fifth thing is, at the table, your past is erased. The devil uses our past to prevent us from moving forward. I don't know what you've done, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Because when you are sitting at the table of the king, your past is irrelevant. Listen. When you are coming out of the fire like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, and the king calls you out of the fire to come and sit with him at the table, you know what? When you come out of the fire, you will not be able to smell like you came out of the fire. There is no smoke that will smell on you. When you come from the ground, you will be so clean when he cleanses you at the table. No one will be able to say that Fiston Batibanga used to be poor. It doesn't matter because your past is erased. No one will be able to tell you that Ovi Prince used to sleep in a car. No one will be able to tell you that Dodi used to sleep under a bridge. Because when you're sitting at the table of the king, your past is irrelevant.